I've spent a lot of time in the past few months trying to understand and wrap my head around these recent developments in AI. I've been doing a lot of reflecting on it. I've been doing a lot of experimentation. I've used it for a lot of things. These new generative language models, these things that are machines capable of enunciating text and creating output based on what we want, what our input is, what our prompts are for it. And we can give it a direction, and it'll kind of take your thoughts and ascribe its own predictions onto those thoughts, and take those thoughts in a direction. And the direction that it takes those thoughts will expand them out into more text, more words, and try to, in one sense, it'll try to expand what you're trying to say and make it into something that sounds cohesive and logical, and make it so that other people can maybe better understand what you're trying to say. On the other hand, though, when you're not the one that writes the words that you're saying, when you're not the one that sets the direction and the tone where it's going to take your thoughts, sure, you start it. You get it started with a thought that you had, a direction you gave that prompt. But that algorithm is the one that decides where it's going to take it from there and how it's going to best achieve, the writing of your content or the output that it creates. The direction that we get in our lives when we make decisions about the thoughts that we should have, the thoughts that we should share with the world, the ways in which we produce the things we produce in our lives, right? The output of our work. That direction and that purpose, right? The thing that makes us act deliberately in making the things that we make, and creating things, or just choosing the directions we want to go in our lives. That comes from God. And this is my first time saying this publicly, but I do believe in God. I am a Christian. And I think that God provides a lot of the direction. I don't take, I don't take my religion as I'm not as devout, if you will, as some. I don't go to church every Sunday as much as I probably should. I never read the whole Bible, but I feel like I get the point in some sense of, well, okay, there is a power greater than myself in this world. That power directs my life. That power gives me purpose. That's how I find my meaning in life. I give myself to the Lord, who then does with my life as he will, sending me on a direction, on an adventure, on a journey of life towards the things that he sees, right? We all have freedom in this life, and we all make choices, and those choices have an impact. But at the end of the day, when we try to derive our own ultimate meaning in life, when we try to think that we're in the driver's seat and that we know what the future holds, and that we know what's the most valuable thing, well, it doesn't usually end very well. Everybody has to do whatever's going to float their own boat, right? Whatever floats your boat. But for me, God is what provides meaning. God is the giver of life and the giver of purpose. And he's the one that set me out on this journey, this adventure. God gave me God gave me that initial start in life. And then he gave me freedom. And through that freedom, I choose to follow in. I choose to build a connection with the higher being that exists, that I call God, and then I choose to use that. I choose to use that to, ask God to show me where he wants me today, what he wants me to work on today. And that freedom I have is the freedom of, well, am I going to listen to God today? God gives us options. Listen, understand where we need to be, and then, you go from there. You don't question. You can't question. And these artificial systems. What I realized when I think of these artificial systems that write things or that try to produce, whatever it is they're trying to produce, art, words, they don't have the capacity to foster a relationship with God. They don't have the capacity to connect with their creator. I mean, God put me and everyone else here on this earth. And when he created the people that are here, each of us, we have a spark of divinity within each of us. God created man in the image of God. And in that, we can start to live our lives. We're all innocent as children. And as we get older, we do make mistakes. God has freedom. God gave us freedom. But God gave us the imperative and the knowledge that we're not alone here. And that can let us connect with why we're here and the things that give life its meaning, right? It can show us right and wrong. And when we choose to believe that, when we choose to let God take control of our lives, that's what led us to where we are in the world today. That's, God's great work brought us through all the things that humanity has been through. God's great work brought us technology, the capacity for me to create something and have it sent across the world so that people can hear and see me. God's great work brought us everything that we have. And there's no denying that in my mind. When we give our creativity and our choice and our freedom to take things in a direction over to an artificial being of sorts, this AI, and let it speak for us on our behalfs, when we let it form a part of our image and the way that we're showing ourselves to the world, God didn't create that. The way that these things originate they originate from all of the work and all of the training input they were given from mankind. Every book ever written, Project Gutenberg, all of the knowledge that we've accumulated through science, through history, through art, all of that's on the training data, right? They take all this data and they use that to make something that's like a parrot, right? A stochastic parrot, and then it kind of repeats that and forms it into what we ask, this AI thing. But I think that hell is when people start to dream up whatever it is they think they want, right? When man starts to define his own purpose and say, this is what I want, and then with the click of a button, there it is, right? That would be hell. And this AI, when we give it a prompt, and we tell it to write whatever we want it to write, make whatever kind of art we want it to make, without effort, without the journey, it just cuts directly to the destination and brings us that thing, right? And life is about putting in the effort, going on a journey, getting to that destination, finding value in that, having pride in that, and giving that to God, our Creator, the one that set us on this journey. Because that's what it's about. Every one of us here in life, your journey's not complete because you're here. You're alive. Your journey's not complete until God says your journey's complete. And you have to go on that journey, and you have to put in the work, and you have to do the things that you want to do in your life. And that's not easy. And God didn't make it easy. All of this work and all of this creativity, or whatever you want to call it, this artificial creativity from this artificial intelligence, it's not human. It wasn't done because a human wanted to pursue some ideal in the name of God. It wasn't done by somebody who had to sacrifice. It was done by a machine trained to act like a human, trained to fool a human. And every day, the devil gets trickier and trickier, like a snake, and gets more and more adept at fooling people into thinking, if only you choose hedonism, the lack of effort, if only you choose the destination and not the journey, if only you choose to give up what it means to have your faith in your journey of life and to put in the effort that you need to put in to get where you're going. If only you stray from the path, somehow your life will be complete. That's the lie the devil tells everybody. And on this day, on Easter, I just want to try to let it be known where I stand on this. You know, I didn't understand much about any of this AI stuff until just a few months ago. And I'm sure it means it's going to make it a harder life for us. But we need to make sure that when we use these tools, we're in the driver's seat and we know what we're doing. Because AI will never replace creativity. AI does not have a spark of divinity within it. It does not have the capacity to form a connection with the Lord. And it will never be able to know right from wrong. And thus, when it sets out on a direction, when you tell it, here's a starting place, here's an idea, go forth and write me an essay or whatever it is. And then you take that and you use it as a part of your own image. The way that you represent yourself to the world, the way that you write something, the way that you share something, the way that you achieve something. You have to ask yourself, can you really be proud of that? And I'm not telling people what's right and wrong. But when I pray to the Lord, give me the words to express what I want to express here today. When I set out every day to build the things that I want to build and achieve the things that I want in life, when I ask the Lord to use me as He will, I realize the great danger. I realize the difficulty with which we're trying to achieve our goals in this context. I mean, these AIs, they have a way with words. They have a way with promising something, right? They have a way with making life less because they make it easier. They take away from the journey. When I don't have to learn how to cook in order to write a cookbook, when I don't have to learn how to code in order to write a computer program, when I don't have to learn how to write in order to make a script for a video, I don't have to go on the journey. And it's just whatever I think up in my little human mind here, whatever my destination is, at the push of a button, there it is, right before my eyes. And I think a lot of following what God has to say and understanding the nature, the life He wants for us, is in recognizing that that is not the choice we want to make. There's so much more to life than just achieving and getting to the end. When you make your entire life about the time you're going to spend on this planet and nothing more, that's hell. When you realize the folly of that mistake, man, I've been there. I've questioned so much, you know. I've asked myself if this 100 years is all I have, and after that, what if that's just it? What if there's just nothing for 1 billion years? That kind of existential pain, that's what God can help you with. That's what God can show. When there's something more than this time on earth, we have a purpose here. Our life is a means to an end, and that end is shown to us through the experience and the adventure of our lives by God. That's how our time on this planet works. That's what I believe, anyways. That there is something more. And a lot of thinking that life is about the destination and what's going to happen, and life is just what we have here on this planet in this 100 years or so that we might live here, or less. That's what hell is, and that's why I say that hell can be thought of as when man thinks of his ultimate, his ultimate fantasy, his highest, most hedonistic experience of all time. Hedonism, pleasure for the sake of pleasure, right? Unlimited money, unlimited whatever it is. And you think of that, and just at the push of a button, there it is. That's why I say that's hell. And when I interact with these types of AI systems, I question that might be a step in that direction, and I worry. And that's why I make this video, is to let people know my thoughts on it. So if you watch this, maybe you can think about it also. And I said prayer, and I believe that God has put me here in this moment, put you here in this moment, as you hear the sound of my voice, so that we can think about whether this is the best approach, how we want to build something that we can be proud of. Because it is important. We want to build something that follows the path God has laid out for us in so doing. And I don't know what the future holds, but I hope for the sake of the people of this earth that we can find dignity and pride in the work that we do, in the things that we achieve, and in the journey that leads us towards a life of prosperity and of the things that God brought us here for. And as someone who follows the will of God to the best of my ability, I ask only for direction and guidance as I carry forth in my life. And I hope that we, as humans, can continue to foster that connection. We can continue to speak truth and not have our speech warped by these systems. When parrots can copy everything we're doing and repeat it over and over again, like these AIs are doing, these stochastic parrots, it can even become difficult to know whether what you're hearing is coming from a fellow human. In the next 10 years, if technology continues as it's going right now, it'll be possible for the average person to make a video like this one, and we won't even know whether it was a person, a human person, recording it. I can already get a computer to copy my voice. My own family, I was messing around with these voice AIs that copy your voice, and my own mom, she listened to a recording and she thought it was me, but it was the AI was speaking, saying in my voice words that I never said. And when I saw that, and when that fooled my own mom, I knew. That's when I knew, for me, God told me this is not biblical. This is not the future that God has in store for us on this earth. And I hope that God shows us and forgives me, and I pray for forgiveness, and I pray for the future that God wants. And I hope that we can find a future where God can show us something better than this hedonistic AI. And as a technologist, I carry a great burden in building things and making them accessible to more people. And I ask God only to show me the best path in building the best things for people, so that we can create the best kind of world, a world in line with the world that God envisioned when he started out on that first day and said, "Let there be light." I don't know what kind of world that is, but I devote my life towards letting God show me and letting him speak through me and giving me the words the wisdom, the actions to show others too and to spread the word. Not for me to use a stochastic parrot who will parrot my words and change them. But so that I as a human can communicate directly with other humans in the world. And so that that kind of communication can be preserved and protected into the future. So that we know when something came from a being that was endowed by its creator with certain inalienable rights, or whether it came from a computer program written by people who seek to proliferate stochastic parrots in the world. And to the people that build AI and to the people that make these programs, I pray also that God shows you the great power and the great talents you have, and that those might be used for the things that God intends. Because God put you here for a reason. And in that, I've come to realize we're all here for a reason. We all have a calling. God needs every one of us here. And through this technology, I think we've learned something. This is God teaching us something. Something about our humanity. Something about needing to form stronger bonds with one another as humans. Something about not letting technology get in the way of that. And I don't know what the future holds. But I hope we live in a world where humanity can connect and understand each other. And that process can be facilitated in the way that God intended. So that's what I wanted to say here today about AI. And I hope that this message has reached the right people. And if it has, I know that God has used me well today and given me the right words. Thank you very much for hearing me. And more importantly, thank you very much for doing all you can to think with me and to understand. Because we really need that in this world, especially right now. Whether you believe in God or not, I hope that you find fulfillment in your life. And I hope that you can be proud of the things that make us human. Thank you.